Okay, fine. So hopefully next year ऐसा ही होगा, seal से ही toppers. Okay, we expect some toppers from seal. अच्छा, fine. So I classified the reactions of alkyl halide into how many categories? Into 4 categories, right? So we have already done a reaction with magnesium metal, and both of these are really we shall move nucleophilic substitution reactions. Okay, second category of reactions. So nucleophilic substitution reactions which are undergone by alkyl halides. Okay. So by the way, what do you mean by a nucleophile? What is a nucleophile? What is a nucleophile? Yes, anyone? What is a nucleophile? Have you heard of this term nucleophile? Obviously, we have done in details in class 11. We have discussed about your nucleophile. Yes, we have discussed about your electrophile. We have discussed all those things. So we have discussed all those things. Okay. So first of all, let us discuss what you mean by a nucleophile. Okay, what a nucleophile. So what are nucleophiles? So nucleophiles, these are species which contains, okay, a lone pair of electron or a negative charge. And normally these attack your what electron deficient. They usually attack your electron deficient carbon atom. So these are termed as a nucleophile. Okay, so what do you mean by a nucleophile? So nucleophile are species which contains either a lone pair of electron. Okay, they either contain a lone pair of electron or they either contain a negative charge. Okay, they contain a lone pair of electron or they contain a negative charge. Okay, and they, what do? They attack a positively charged carbon atom. They attack an electron deficient carbon atom. Okay. So what are some examples of nucleophiles? Say if we talk about your neutral, okay, there is water. Okay, they are lone pair of electron and oxygen. So this oxygen atom containing lone pair, it attacks the electron deficient carbon atom. Okay, not the hydrogen, oxygen. Fine. On the other hand, we have ammonia. Yes, it contains a lone pair on nitrogen. So it behaves as a nucleophile. So which is the nucleophilic atom out here? The nitrogen is a nucleophilic atom. Okay. Similarly, we have amines, which again contains a lone pair on nitrogen. So all these species containing a lone pair of electron, they are known as a nucleophiles. And what do the lone pair do? They attack, they form a bond with electron deficient carbon atom. So which is a nucleophilic atom out here? Oxygen. Which is a nucleophilic atom out here? Nitrogen. Amines mein, nitrogen is a nucleophilic atom. Similarly, there are examples of nucleophiles which have negative charge on their name. So what are the examples? Say OH negative, yeah, CN negative, yeah, NO2 negative, okay, yeah, halides. So all these also behaves as a nucleophile. Okay, so what do? They attack again an electron deficient carbon atom. Now, which is the nucleophilic atom out here? Obviously, oxygen. Out here, halide ion. But these are two special cases which we shall again study. So in all these examples, remember, there is only one nucleophilic center. Oxygen is a nucleophilic center, nitrogen out here, oxygen. But here, carbon can also behave as a nucleophilic center, nitrogen can also behave as a nucleophilic center. So how many nucleophilic atoms are there? There are two. That means it can form a bond either through carbon or through nitrogen. Here also there are two nucleophilic centers. It can form a bond either through nitrogen or through oxygen. Okay, so these are two special cases. What is the special case? Okay, in this case, in these examples, there are two atoms. Okay, either of which can form a bond with the carbon atom. Either of which can form a bond with carbon atom. And these type of nucleophiles, containing two nucleophilic atoms, they are known as ambidented nucleophiles. They are known as ambident nucleophile. So these are examples of some nucleophiles. Okay, so first we learned what are nucleophiles. So nucleophiles, it covers all those species which either contains a lone pair or a negative charge. So generally there is only one donor atom like this, but in some cases there are two atoms which can form a bond with electron deficient carbon atom. So those type of nucleophiles which contains two atoms which can form a bond, they are known as a ambident nucleophile. They are known as a ambident nucleophile. Okay, so your alkyl halides, okay, they have a tendency to undergo what type of reactions? They undergo nucleophilic substitution reactions. They undergo nucleophilic substitution reactions. So let us see what are the categories of nucleophilic substitution reactions. Okay, so number one, remember when alkyl halides are treated with aqueous KOH, when they are treated with aqueous KOH. Okay, what are the reagents? Aqueous KOH, or instead of aqueous KOH, aqueous NaOH might be given, or moist silver oxide. Moist silver oxide means here silver hydroxide. So what are the reagents which can be used out here? Generally aqueous QH will be given, but NaOH can also be given, AOH can also be given. So these are the reagents. Now, what are we discussing? We are discussing about nucleophilic substitution reaction. Means in this case, the halide is going to get replaced by the nucleophile. Fine. Now tell me, in potassium hydroxide, what is the nucleophilic part? Potassium hydroxide means what is the nucleophilic part? We have, it's an ionic compound, potassium positive, OH negative. So what is the nucleophilic part in potassium hydroxide? OH negative, right? So this halide will get replaced by OH like this. This halide will get replaced by OH, plus we get KX. So this halide ultimately is getting substituted by OH. That means what are we doing out here? We are converting alkyl halide to alcohol. The reverse we have done in the preparation. We can easily convert alcohol to alkyl halides, but here we are doing the reverse thing. So this comes under the category of nucleophilic substitution reaction. And what is the nucleophilic part out here? The OH negative is the nucleophile out here. OH negative is the nucleophile. Okay. Now say we have ethyl bromide, okay, aqueous QH, ethyl bromide, aqueous QH. So what will happen to this halide then? Again, in this case, okay, the halide is going to get substituted by OH. So what do we get out here? We get CH3, we get CH2, OH. So this is a convenient method for the conversion of alkyl halides to alcohol. So in this way, by using this reagent, aqueous QH, we can easily substitute the halide by OH, right? So this is a convenient method for the preparation of alkyl halides to alcohol. Okay. Say suppose if you are given this question, how will you convert, say, benzene, or say I'll give you one conversion. Okay, I'll give you one conversion. So copy it. You predict the product, right? So just let us recapitulate the things which you have done earlier. So I take benzene, I treat this with methyl chloride in the presence of anhydrous AlCl3, I'll get A. And this on chlorination in the presence of light will give us B. And these on treatment with aqueous QH gives us C. So predict the product A, B, and C. Predict the product A, B, and C. Chalo, do it on your own. The name of the reaction is Friedel-Crafts alkylation reaction. So an alkyl group is introduced into the benzene ring. Okay, since we have methyl chloride, methyl group will be introduced into the benzene ring. So this is A. Now we have done this in the earlier class, chlorination in the presence of light. Okay, the side chain, the hydrogen of side chain, the hydrogen of the alkyl side chain will get substituted. So what do you get out here? We get benzyl chloride. We get benzyl chloride. We have done this. This is a very important reaction. Eh? But instead of chlorine, if I have AlCl3, then this hydrogen will get substituted. But in presence of light, side chain substitution will occur. So we have a halide out here. We are treating this with aqueous QH. So obviously what will happen? The chlorine will get substituted by OH. So we have CH2OH. So what is this? This is benzyl alcohol. Okay, benzene to benzyl alcohol. It can be prepared in this way, benzene to benzyl alcohol. Okay, so remember the reagent for substituting halide by OH is aqueous KOH or aqueous NaOH or aqueous AgOH or moist silver oxide. Either of these might be given. So now we know a very convenient method whereby the halide can be substituted by a OH part. Okay. Now the next reaction which we are going to discuss is really important one. Okay. So substitution by cyanide. Okay, second reaction, substitution by cyanide. So yes, what is the reaction? When alkyl halides are treated with alcoholic potassium cyanide. When alkyl halides are treated with alcoholic potassium cyanide, what will happen? What is the nucleophilic part, by the way, in potassium cyanide? What is the nucleophilic part? Potassium cyanide. What is the nucleophilic part? The nucleophilic part is Cn negative, right? So the halide will get substituted by Cn. The halide will get substituted by Cn. The halide will get substituted by Cn. Okay. For example, if I start with methyl chloride, if I treat this with alcoholic potassium cyanide, so this halide will get substituted by Cn. So I can write C triple bond N. I can write C triple bond N like this. The halide will get substituted by cyanide. Okay. Why is this reaction so important? Why do we need to remember this reaction? Why we must remember this reaction is because of the fact that in the starting compound, how many carbon did we have? In the starting compound, we started with a compound having one carbon atom. And after nucleophilic substitution, we get a compound containing 2 carbon atoms. That means this reaction provides us a way to increase the length of the carbon chain by 1 unit. Via this reaction, we can add an extra carbon atom. Here there was 1 carbon atom, here there are 2 carbon atoms. So via this reaction, we can add an extra carbon atom. So this type of reactions are known as a step up reaction. Step up reaction means we are stepping up, we are adding an extra carbon like this. Step up reaction. These reactions are known as a step up reactions. Okay. What is the IUPAC name of this compound, by the way? What is the name of this functional group Cn? What is the name of this functional group Cn? Yes, it is known as nitriles. They are known as a nitriles. So how many carbon atoms are there? Longest chain, longest continuous carbon chain, there are 2 carbon atoms. So the IUPAC name of this compound is ethane nitrile. It's ethane nitrile. Or we also sometimes, okay, common name is a methyl cyanide. We can also say this as a methyl cyanide or ethane nitrile. Okay. So remember, in this reaction, a new carbon-carbon bond is formed. Okay, via this reaction, a new carbon-carbon bond is formed. Okay. So the importance of this reaction, please silent your mobile.
Hello.
Okay, so via this reaction, we can introduce an extra carbon atom, and remember, a new carbon-carbon bond is formed. A new carbon-carbon bond is formed. Okay. Now, not only this, okay, we can add an extra carbon atom. Fine. Not only this, this functional group is a very versatile functional group. Versatile in the sense that this functional group can be converted into a number of other functional groups. Okay, so let us see. So we have a cyanide. Okay, so if I hydrolyze this in presence of an acid, H positive denotes an acid. So this is known as an acidic hydrolysis. So CN group in presence of acidic hydrolysis gets converted into a carboxylic acid group. That means we can easily convert a cyanide to a carboxylic acid group. Reagent acidic hydrolysis. Got it? So we can't afford to forget this reaction. Say, okay, one or two questions based on this particular line is going to come. Fine. Similarly, when cyanides are treated with hydrogen in the presence of nickel, what is this? This is a reducing agent. Hydrogen means when we pass hydrogen over a noble metals, it acts as a reducing agent. What does a reducing agent do? It supplies hydrogen. So hydrogen will be added across the triple bond. Okay, the triple bond will get reduced to single bond. So if the triple bond gets reduced to single bond like this, what is the valency of carbon? 4. So 2 valency, 2 hydrogen out here. Valency of nitrogen is 3. So valency 1, 2 more hydrogen. So what is this? This is an example of 1 degree amines. This is an example of 1 degree amines. Okay, this is an example of 1 degree amine. So your nitriles can be converted to carboxylic acids.
Oh, last time की दूसरा इसने नहीं किया था ना?
Okay, fine. So number one, how can you convert a CN to a carboxylic acid group? Acidic hydrolysis. Cyanide to a 1 degree amine, reduction. Okay, reduction. Not only this cyanide, this CN can be converted to an amide group. What is an amide group? CONH2 group. Okay, it can be converted to an amide group. This is an amide. Okay, so what is the reagent? The reagent for this is alkaline hydrolysis. Alkaline hydrolysis in presence of hydrogen peroxide. Alkaline hydrolysis in presence of hydrogen peroxide. So you need to remember anyhow these transformations. First, how can you convert a cyanide to a carboxylic acid group? Reagent, acidic hydrolysis. How can you convert a cyanide to a 1 degree amine? Reduction. How can you convert a nitrile to an amide? Okay, alkaline hydrolysis in the presence of hydrogen peroxide. So what have we studied out here? Yes, how we can substitute this halide by a nucleophile CN. What is the reagent? Alcoholic KCN is the reagent. Importance of this reaction, an extra carbon is introduced. Fine. And again, this CN can be converted into a number of other functional groups in this way. Okay, it can be converted into a number of. Okay. So whenever you start with the conversions, what I suggest you is you write down the structure of the starting compound. So what is the structure of the starting compound? Ethyl alcohol, CH3, CH2, OH. You are supposed to convert this to propionic acid. Prop means 3 carbon atom. Oic acid means we have a COOH group. Then you satisfy the remaining valencies by adding the respective hydrogen atom out. CH3, CH2, COH. Okay, so we wrote down the reactant and we wrote down the final product. So now we'll see what is the main difference between these two. The main difference I can see out here is the starting compound contains 2 carbon atoms, but the product contains 3 carbon atoms. So that means we need to add an extra carbon. How can you add an extra carbon? Yes, by treating alkyl halides with alcoholic KCNA. We need alkyl halides, not alcohol. Okay, by treating alkyl halides with alcoholic KCN, an extra carbon can be added. But here we don't have an alkyl halide, we have an alcohol. So how will we start with? First of all, we are going to convert the alcohol to any alkyl halide. So if you want to convert to chlorine, I can use PCl5, PCl3, okay, whatever you remember. CH3, CH2, Cl. So you can either convert this into bromine or iodine, whatever, okay, you are comfortable with. Now I have alkyl halide. Now, in order to introduce an extra carbon, I treat this with alcoholic KCN. Yes, now as soon as I treat this with alcoholic KCN, an extra carbon gets introduced. An extra carbon gets introduced like this. Okay. An extra carbon gets introduced, CN. So now, but I don't need CN, I need COH. So just now we have done the transformation. How are we going to convert CN into COH groups? We have to plan in this way. We have to think in this way. Yes, I have CN, but I need COH. How am I going to convert this cyanide to COH group? Yes, what is the reagent? Acidic hydrolysis. So yes, the CN group gets converted to a COOH group. I get propanoic acid. So what do I get? I get propanoic acid. Fine. So this is the transformation. Number 1. Understood? So we have to plan. Alcohol, I need to convert alcohol to alkyl halide. Alkyl halide, KCN, an extra carbon will get introduced. The CN needs to get converted to COH, reagent, acidic hydrolysis. Bas, done. 1 marks or 2 marks question. Okay. Now let us move towards the other. Toluene to 1-phenyl ethanoic acid. Toluene to 1-phenyl ethanoic acid. So let us first draw the structure. Okay, let us first draw the structure. We have toluene, CH3. These two 1-phenyl ethanoic acid. It means 2 carbon atom. See, it means 2 carbon atom. Oic acid means COOH. Okay, so what did I write? 1-phenyl or 2-phenyl? What did I write? What did I write? 1-phenyl or 2-phenyl?
1-phenyl.
That will be 2-phenyl, right? That will be 2-phenyl, not 1-phenyl. That will be 2-phenyl ethanoic acid. Correct it? So this is number 1 carbon. The functional group should get priority. 1, 2. So 2 number mein we have a phenyl group. And to satisfy the valency, we just write down 2 hydrogens out. So this is 2-phenyl ethanoic acid. This is 2-phenyl ethanoic acid. Okay, this is 2-phenyl ethanoic acid. Okay, chalo. Fine. Here we have to add an extra carbon atom. So what is the process to add an extra carbon atom? Well, by treating your halides with your alcoholic KCN. So we must introduce a halide out here. Eh? So how you can introduce an halide in the side chain? Yes, someone please give me the lead. How you can introduce a halide in the, how you can substitute the hydrogen by halide? Yes, chlorination in the presence of light. Chlorination in the presence of light, what will happen? The hydrogen of the side chain will get substituted by halogen like this. It will get substituted by halogen, CH2Cl. So now, yes, we can afford to substitute this by Cl. Reagent will be alcoholic KCN. As soon as I treat this with alcoholic KCN, what will I get? The Cl will get replaced by Cn. So look at the product. I'm supposed to prepare this compound. That means if I can convert Cn to COH group, then I'll get the desired product. Again, I know what is the reagent for this. What is the reagent for this? The reagent for this will be again acidic hydrolysis. Okay, acidic hydrolysis. So what do I get? CH2 CN group will get converted to COOH group. So 2-phenyl ethanoic acid. Okay, so this is how you must think, this is how you must plan. So they go, how many reactions have I combined out? I have combined so many reactions. Okay, we have studied this separately, we have studied this separately, we have studied this separately, but you need to connect this reaction in this way. In the exams, okay, so there will be 4 or 5 reactions. Okay, we will arrive at the product by in 4 or 5 steps. Here we have taken 3 steps. So we need to correlate in this way. We have to think in this way. Extra carbon, yes, KCN, but KCN so we can only substitute, we can only introduce CN by substituting halide. So main thing is I must convert one of the hydrogen to halide reagent. I thought in this way. This is the thought process. Cl to CN, alcoholic KCN. CN to COH, yes, I know, acidic hydrolysis. Okay, so this is the second nucleophilic substitution reaction which are given by alkyl halides, Okay, so why is this reaction important again? Yes, because an extra carbon is introduced and also CN can be converted into a number of other functional groups. Okay, so what did we study just now? We studied that alkyl halides on treated with alcoholic KCN will give you RCN. Fine. Now, on the other hand, when alkyl halides are treated with AgCN, when alkyl halides are treated with silver cyanide, here we are treating with potassium cyanide, we get alkyl cyanide. When it is treated with silver cyanide, okay, we get RNC. We get RNC, and this class of compounds are known as a alkyl. These are known as alkyl isocyanides. So here these are known as, this class of compounds are known as alkyl cyanides. These are known as alkyl isocyanides. Okay, so now see, why is this? Again, this is a very important question. So why when treated with KCN we get cyanides? Why when treated with AgCN we get isocyanides? Why is this? So let us discuss this. Okay, now see. First of all, I'm going to explain this. Now, potassium cyanide is an ionic compound. It's an ionic compound, so it ionizes to give us K positive and CN negative. Now, I told you before, this is an example of an ambident nucleophile. Means it can form a bond either through carbon atom or it can form a bond either through nitrogen atom. Okay, so the nucleophiles which has 2 donor atoms which can form a bond through 2 atoms are known as ambident nucleophiles. So the thing is that, so suppose if I treat this with CS3Br, okay, we have CN negative out here. We have CN negative. The nucleophilic part is CN negative. Now here, both the carbon as well as the nitrogen end are free. Carbon is also free, nitrogen end is also free. And by definition, this nucleophile should attack an electron deficient carbon. Now you must be thinking, you must be wondering, sir, how is this electron deficient? Yes, this is electron deficient because halide, we know it's highly electronegative. Okay, it will pull the electron towards itself, making the carbon electron deficient. So the thing is that both the ends are free. The carbon end is also free, the nitrogen end is also free. That means it can form a bond either through carbon, either a carbon-carbon bond can be formed, or either a nitrogen-carbon bond will be formed. But in this case, yes, what is formed? A carbon-carbon bond is formed ultimately. CH3CN is formed. Why is this? Okay, although both the carbon and nitrogen ends are free, both the carbon and nitrogen ends are free, but the thing is that because a carbon-carbon bond is stronger. A carbon-carbon bond is stronger than a carbon-nitrogen bond. That is why, okay, a carbon-carbon bond is formed. But here, both ends are free. Eh? Nitrogen is also free, carbon is also free. But why the carbon end forms a bond with this carbon with another carbon? Because we know carbon-carbon bond is the strongest of all. Got it? Now, so this is the reason. First reason, potassium cyanide is an ionic compound. Okay, so there is a free cyanide ion where the carbon atom is also free, the nitrogen atom is also free. Both the atoms are free, but a carbon-carbon bond is formed in preference to carbon-nitrogen bond. Why? Because a carbon-carbon bond is more stronger than a carbon-nitrogen bond. Okay, so that is why we get cyanides. But on the other hand, this silver cyanide is a covalent molecule. It is a covalent molecule. It's not an ionic compound, right? So since it is a covalent molecule, which end is free out here? Which end is free? Is the carbon end free or the nitrogen end free? Which end is free out here? Is the carbon atom free? Can it attack another carbon atom? It's a covalent molecule. It does not ionize like here. Both carbon was also free, nitrogen end was also free because a Cn negative ion was created. But here there is a covalent molecule. It does not ionize. So we see the carbon is bonded to silver and nitrogen. So it's not free at all. But yes, the nitrogen end is free. The nitrogen end is free. Okay. So since the nitrogen end is free, here bond formation occurs only through nitrogen atom. Since the nitrogen end is free, here the bond formation occurs only through nitrogen atom. So what do we get out of it? We get CH3NC. Because a carbon atom, it's not free. It cannot attack this carbon atom. It's not free at all. But this nitrogen is free. Okay, that is why this alkyl part forms a bond with nitrogen to give us isocyanides. So this question is quite important as far as the board levels are concerned. Why alcoholic KCN gives us cyanide and AgCN gives us isocyanates. Okay. So remember, treatment with AgCN gives us alkyl isocyanates. Okay, and remember isocyanates we shall study later on. It is a compound having a unpleasant smell. Okay, it is a compound having a very unpleasant smell. Okay, and they are very poisonous as well. Cyanides and isocyanates, they are very poisonous. Okay. Similarly, remember alkyl halides. If I treat this with potassium nitrite, okay, first we'll write down silver nitrite, AgNO2, we get RNO2. Okay, but when alkyl halides are treated with potassium nitrite, we get RONO. Here again there is a difference. Okay, here in both the cases the nucleophile is NO2 negative. The nucleophile is NO2 negative. This is the nucleophile. But here bond formation occurs through again nitrogen. This here the bond formation occurs through oxygen. That means again this is an example of an ambident nucleophile. This is again an example of an ambident nucleophile. Okay, so this class of compounds are known as here nitroalkanes. These are known as nitroalkanes. This class of compounds are known as nitroalkanes, whereas this class of compounds are known as alkyl nitrites. These are known as alkyl nitrites. For example, say if I have CS3Br, if I treat this with potassium nitrite KNO2, what will I get? If I treat this with potassium nitrite, what will I get? I'll get CH3ONO. Alkyl nitride, methyl nitride. I get methyl nitride. Okay, so if I treat the same compound with say AgNO2, what will I get? I will be getting CH3NO2. So I'll be getting nitromethane. I'll be getting nitromethane like this. Nitroalkyls. Fine. So these are some important new. So remember SN1, your A stands for substitution, nucleophilic unimolecular, substitution, nucleophilic bimolecular, and SNI is known as a substitution, nucleophilic intramolecular. Intramolecular. Again, okay. From here, either from SN1 or SN2, 110% one question will be based upon this topic, SN1 and SN2. So we can just memorize everything. We need to understand what is SN1 and what is SN2 reaction. Okay. So please pay attention in this particular part. Okay, please pay attention. I'll go slowly. Okay, you need to understand this. You need to understand this. So today I'll just start with your SN1 reaction. I'll just start with your SN1 reaction. SN1 reaction. So what is SN1 reaction? How does it take place? Okay, what is formed during your SN1 reaction? We'll be discussing all this today. So what do you mean by unimolecular reaction, by the way? What do you mean by unimolecular reaction? What is a unimolecular reaction? Or what is a bimolecular reaction? Yes, what is a unimolecular reaction? So unimolecular reactions are those where only one molecule is involved in the rate determining step. Bimolecular means there are two species which are involved. Okay. Okay. So let us see how SN1 reaction occurs. How does SN1 reaction take place? Okay. So SN1 reaction, it takes place in two steps. It occurs in two steps. So since it occurs in two steps, so let us see the mechanism. Let us see the mechanism of the reaction. Let us see the mechanism of the reaction. So what happens in step one? Step one, what happens? Slow ionization of the substrate. Slow ionization of the substrate. What is the substrate out here? Reactant alkyl halide. Slow ionization of the substrate to form a carbocation. So remember, in the slowest step, okay, what is formed out here? A carbocation is formed. Slow ionization of the substrate to form a carbocation. So how is it formed? Let us see. We have an alkyl halide like this. Okay, now the halogen is more electronegative. So it pulls two electrons towards itself like this. And the CX bond gets broken. Okay. So R, it acquires a positive charge, and X, it acquires a negative charge. And this step is the slow step. Right? And this group, which leaves along with its electron, this is also known as a leaving group. So what is generated out here? A carbocation is generated. A carbocation is generated in the first step. Okay. Now, in the second step, what will happen? Nucleophilic attack on carbocation to form product. Nucleophilic attack on carbocation to form a product. Okay, so we have a carbocation out here. We have a carbocation. We have a carbocation like this. Now, what will happen? The nucleophile. Okay, the nucleophile will attack this carbon. Attack means it will form a bond with this electron deficient carbon atom. So we have discussed just now. What does a nucleophile do? A nucleophile forms a bond with electron deficient carbon atom. Okay, so giving rise to a product. So ultimately, what has happened out here? Just see. Ultimately, what has happened? The halide is getting substituted by a nucleophile. Okay, and remember, this is a fast step. This is a fast step. So this reaction, SN1 reaction, it actually occurs in two steps. Step 1 may slow ionization. Step 2 may the nucleophile will attack the carbocation digest. Now we have studied in details in chemical kinetics. In case of a complex reaction, what is the rate of the overall reaction determined by? The rate of the overall reaction is determined by, yes, which step? Slow step or fast step? Which step will determine the rate of the overall reaction? Tell me guys, which step is going to determine the rate of the overall reaction? Slow or fast? Yes, yes, yes. Slow step or fast step?
Slow.
Slow, good, excellent. Okay, the slowest step will determine the rate. So according to your kinetics, the rate will be proportional, and in the slowest step there is only one reactant. So rate is directly proportional to concentration of alkyl halides. So how many molecules are involved in the rate determining step? One. That is why it is known as a unimolecular reaction. So the rate depends only upon the concentration of alkyl halide. Remember, the rate does not depend upon the concentration of nucleophile, because in the rate determining step we don't have any nucleophilic part out here. Whatever may be the concentration of the nucleophile, the rate is independent of the concentration of nucleophile. The rate, it only depends upon the concentration of alkyl halide. Since only one reactant is involved in the rate determining step, that is why this reaction is known as a substitution nucleophilic unimolecular reaction. Okay, that is why it is known as a substitution nucleophilic unimolecular. Okay, so now two, three things I need to tell out here. So number one, how does SN1 reaction occur? It occurs in this way. You have to remember this. Okay, and what is formed during the course of the reaction in the slow step? What is formed? Okay, we get the product via a carbocation. That means a carbocation is formed, and that carbocation will be attacked by nucleophile, ultimately giving us the product. So a carbocation is formed during the course of the reaction. Okay, this is a very important thing. Eh? So remember out here, okay. So a carbocation is formed, and those alkyl halides, okay, which gives a stable, those alkyl halides which gives a stable carbocation will react readily by SN1 mechanism. Those alkyl halides which gives a stable carbocation, will react readily by SN1 mechanism. So remember, okay, what is formed in the rate determining step? Carbocation. Okay, and all those alkyl halides which gives a stable carbocation, will react readily by SN1 mechanism. So here we need to have a preliminary idea about the stability of carbocation. We need to know very clearly what is a carbocation, What are the factors which affects the stability of a carbocation? We should be knowing all those things out here. Right? Okay, so just concentrate, students. So this is going to be a very important topic. Okay, because the thing is that we can't memorize this thing. We need to understand it. Okay. Okay, let us start now very slowly. What is a carbocation? Yes, a carbocation is a species containing a positive charge like this. So why does it contain a positive charge? Because carbon has only 6 electrons in the outermost shell, although it should have 8. Okay, so these are carbocation. And remember, any factor, write it down, any factor which decreases the positive charge, any factor which decreases the positive charge on carbon atom brings stability to the carbocation. So what have we written out here? In a single line, okay, the stability of carbocation can be summed up in this way. So what brings stability to a carbon? Carbon atom has a positive charge. So any factor that reduces the positive charge will bring stability to carbocation. Okay, any factor. So what are the factors again? Let us see. Okay, it brings stability to carbocation. Now remember again, okay, there are so many things which needs to be connected now. In class 11, we have studied individually. Now there are so many things which needs to be connected now. So in class 11, we have studied about the electron displacements in organic compounds. There we have studied 2 types of groups. Okay, what are the 2 types of groups? So suppose we have a carbon atom which is bonded to an atom X like this. And if this atom is more electronegative than carbon, then what will it do? If this is more electronegative than carbon, it will pull the electron towards itself, thereby acquiring a negative charge, and carbon will acquire a positive charge. That means these are electron attracting species. These are electron withdrawing groups. Excuse me. These are electron withdrawing groups. Right? So this is withdrawing electron towards itself. These are electron withdrawing groups. Since it withdraws electron, it will acquire a negative charge. So this type of groups are known as a minus I group, and this effect is known as a minus I effect. Minus I group and a minus I effect. So what are the things which comes under this category? All the halides, your nitro group, your carboxylic acid group, your ketone group, your aldehyde group, etc., etc. All this comes under a minus I group. What if these are attached to carbon? What will they do? They will attract electron from the carbon atom. They are electron withdrawing groups. Now, on the other hand, we have just the opposite type of group, okay, which will donate electron to the carbon atom. These are electron donating groups. So if it donates electron to the carbon, now carbon will acquire a negative charge because it's getting electron, and this is donating electron, means it will acquire a positive charge like this. So these type of groups are known as here electron donating groups. These are electron donating groups. And what charge do they acquire? They acquire a positive charge. That is why this type of groups are known as a plus I group, and the effect is known as a plus I effect. Okay, so how many types of groups are there? Minus I group, electron withdrawing group, and plus I group. So what comes under this category, plus I group? All the alkyl groups come under this category. It's very easy to remember. All the alkyl groups come under this category. And remember, with the increase in the number of carbon atom. As the number of carbon atom increases, the plus I effect will also increase. As the number of carbon atom increases, the plus I effect will also increase, like this. Okay, so this is the order of plus I effect of some alkyl groups. Okay, as the number of carbon atom increases, the plus I effect will also increase. So remember, plus I groups will push electron towards the carbon, minus I group will withdraw electron from the carbon. You need to remember. So plus I group, it's so easy, right? क्या है example? Alkyl group. An alkyl group में क्या है? As the number of carbon atom increases, the plus I effect will also increase. Okay, so why do we need to study this? What are we discussing? We are discussing SN1 reaction. SN1 reaction में what carbocation is formed. And what did I say? Those which gives a stable carbocation, those which gives a stable carbocation, those which gives a stable carbocation will react readily by SN1 mechanism. Okay, those which gives a stable carbocation will react readily by SN1 mechanism. So that is why we need to know the stability of carbocation. What are the factors? Okay. Now, what did I say? Any factor which decreases the positive charge will bring stability. Okay, now fine. Okay, now, so there is a methyl carbocation. I need to remove this. This is a ethyl carbocation. This is an isopropyl carbocation. We have an isopropyl group out here. And we have a tertiary butyl carbocation like this. We have a tertiary butyl carbocation like this. Okay, so these are the 4 carbocations. Right? I have drawn 4 carbocations. Now see, methyl carbocation, just leave it. Starting from the second, here the positive charge is on what type of carbon is this? Is it a primary, secondary, or tertiary? What type of carbon is this? Primary, secondary, or tertiary? What? Primary.
Primary.
So since a positive charge is on primary carbon, this comes under the category of primary carbocation. This is a primary carbocation, right? Here the positive charge is on secondary carbon. So this is a 2-degree carbocation. This is a secondary carbocation. Here the positive charge is on 3-degree carbon. So this is a tertiary carbocation. And we just say this is a methyl carbocation. This is a methyl carbocation. Okay, so yes, we have an electron deficient carbocation. Now listen very clearly. What type of groups are these alkyl groups? An alkyl group is attached. There are 2 alkyl groups, there are 3 alkyl groups. What type of groups are these? Electron donating or electron withdrawing groups? Alkyl groups, it comes under which category? They are electron donating groups. That means these alkyl groups will now push electron towards this carbon. They will donate electron towards the carbon. They will push electron towards the carbon. And as they donate electron towards this carbon, what will happen to the positive charge? What will happen to the positive charge? It will increase or it will decrease? Yes, please tell me. Alkyl group is pushing electron. It's an electron donating group. As it donates electron, what will happen to the positive charge? It will get what? Neutralized, or it will get enhanced. The positive charge will increase or decrease. Obviously, the positive charge will decrease. Isko electron mil raha hai. It is getting electron. It is getting negative charge. Right? So the positive charge will get neutralized. So how many such electron donating groups are there? 1. But here we have 2 electron donating groups. We have 2 electron donating groups out here. So out here the positive charge is neutralized towards a greater extent. That means this is more stable than this. Since the positive charge is neutralized to a greater extent. Why? Because there are two alkyl groups donating electron. But in the third case, there are three alkyl groups which are donating electron towards the carbon. That means the positive charge is neutralized, okay, to a greatest extent in this case, because there are three alkyl groups pushing electron towards this carbon. So the positive charge is neutralized to a high extent out here. This positive charge is neutralized to a greater extent out here. So on the basis of plus I effect, what is the order of stability of carbocation then? What is the order of stability of carbocation? Yes, the order of stability of carbocation is 3 degree greater than 2 degree greater than 1 degree. Got it? So this is the concept of stability of carbocation. So what is the order of stability of carbocation? Your 3 degree greater than 2 degree greater than 1 degree. Now we know the order of stability of carbocation. And what did we say? What did we say? Those alkyl halides which gives a stable carbocation will react readily by SN1 mechanism. Okay. So once again, I'll give you three structures out here. So I'll again draw ethyl, say bromide or chloride, iodide, whatever. I'll draw and I'll draw tertiary. Okay. Now again, let us look at the carbon to which the halogen is attached. The halogen is attached to a 1 degree carbon. The halogen is attached to a 2 degree carbon. The halogen is attached to a 3 degree carbon. Okay, so this is an example of a 1 degree alkyl halide. This is an example of a 2 degree alkyl halide. This is an example of a 3 degree alkyl halide. Fine. So in an SN1 mechanism, if it undergoes SN1 reaction, if it undergoes SN1 reaction, if it undergoes SN1 reaction, what should happen in the first step? Tell me now. What should happen in the first step if all the three undergoes SN1 reaction? What is the first step of SN1 reaction? There will be a dissociation of alkyl. So this bond will break. This bond will break. This bond will break like this. Okay, so it's easy to remember. So what will be generated out here? A carbocation. Which carbocation? Ethyl. Which carbocation? 2 degree carbocation. Remember, the positive charge will be on the carbon atom containing halogen. Which carbocation? This. So 1 degree alkyl halide will give you a 1 degree carbocation. 2 degree alkyl halide will give you a 2 degree carbocation. 3 degree alkyl halide will give you a 3 degree carbocation. 1 degree alkyl halide gives us a 1 degree carbocation, 2 degree alkyl halide, 2 degree carbocation, 3 degree alkyl halide, 3 degree carbocation. Now, which carbocation is most stable? कौन सा carbocation सबसे stable है? 3 degree. So what have we said? Those alkyl halides which gives a stable carbocation will react readily by SN1 mechanism. So out of the 3 alkyl halides, which gives the most stable carbocation? 3 degree alkyl halides gives the most stable carbocation. So out of these 3 alkyl halides, which reacts readily by SN1 mechanism? 3 degree alkyl halides reacts readily by SN1 mechanism. So what is the order of reactivity of alkyl halides? Yes, towards SN1 reaction, what is the order of reactivity? Here, 3 degree alkyl halides will be the most reactive, followed by 2 degree alkyl halides, followed by 1 degree alkyl halide. Reason? Because 3 degree alkyl halides gives us a more stable carbocation. 3 degree alkyl halides gives a more stable carbocation. Simple. Now, if the halides are different, remember the order of reactivity will be alkyl iodide will be the most reactive, followed by alkyl bromide, followed by alkyl chloride. So this is the order of reactivity if the alkyl group is same, but if the halide are different. Okay, why? We say because the order of leaving group, what are leaving groups out here? Halides. So iodide is considered as the best leaving group, followed by bromide, followed by chloride. So this is the order of leaving group capacity. So we have studied so much in details, but all these will conclude to a single line concept. What is the single line concept? The reactivity towards SN1 reaction depends upon the stability of carbocation. Those alkyl halides which gives a stable carbocation will react most readily by SN1 mechanism. And we have studied a 3-degree alkyl halide gives us a 3-degree carbocation, so its reactivity will be highest, followed by 2 degree, followed by 1 degree. Okay. So chalo, go through these questions. You'll see this type of questions in plenty. Okay. So which of this react readily by SN1 mechanism? If this Y does not come, usually it comes under 1 marks. If Y is added, 2 marks question. Okay, so I'll give you 2. What are these two compounds? These are bond line formula. So this means CS3, CHBr, CS3. So these are 2-degree carbon. So these are 2-degree alkyl halide. This is CS3, CH3, CH3, CBr. This carbon is an example of 3-degree carbon. It's a 3-degree alkyl halide. Okay. So this I'll label it as 1. This I'll label it as 2. So yes, what will be your answer? And why? What will be your answer? Which one will react readily by SN1 mechanism and why? So obviously 3-degree alkyl halide will give you a 3-degree carbocation which is more stable, whereas a 2-degree alkyl halide will give you a 2-degree carbocation which is less stable. And the one which gives a more stable carbocation will react readily by SN1 mechanism. So we can say 2 reacts readily by SN1 mechanism since it gives a more stable tertiary carbocation. So 2 will react more readily than 1. Why? Because 2 is a 3-degree alkyl halide, so it gives a more stable 3-degree carbocation. Simple as this. Or if the question comes, which will react readily by SN1 mechanism and why? So suppose we have this. Now here the alkyl group is same. 2 chloropropane, 2 bromopropane. The alkyl group is same, they just differ in the nature of leaving group. So which one will react readily by SN1 mechanism? 1 or 2? What will be the answer? So 2 will react more readily than 1 because what will you write? Because what? Bromide is a better leaving group than chloride, because Br negative is a better leaving group than Cl negative. So this is the order of leaving group ability. Okay, so iodide is the best leaving group. So if the alkyl group is same and the halides are different, then this is the order towards a SN1 reaction. Fine. So this type of questions are in plenty. Okay, and there is every chance that this type of questions might come in your board's level. And so it usually carries 2 marks. If Y is there, if Y is not there, you'll just say 2 is more reactive than 1. Why is not there? You don't need to explain it. So 3-degree alkyl halides most reactive, followed by 2-degree alkyl halides, followed by 1-degree alkyl halides. Okay, so the SN1 reaction is not over yet. I have written it down. Any factor which decreases the positive charge. I have just discussed one factor. I have just discussed the order of reactivity on the basis of carbocation stability. Carbocation stability, I have discussed it on the basis of inductive effect. So, are there any other factors apart from inductive effect which bring stability to carbocation? That's the question. Apart from inductive effect, are there any other effects which stabilizes carbocation? Yes, a very important indeed. Okay, a very important factor we have not discussed till now. Right? So remember, a carbocation is stabilized by electron donating groups through which effect? Through inductive effect. But remember a very important factor here, resonance. Resonance brings stability to a carbocation. Resonance brings more stability, in fact. So resonance factor is even more prominent than an inductive effect. Resonance brings stability to a carbocation. Okay, resonance will stabilize a carbocation. And remember, greater the number of resonating structures, greater the number of resonating structures, greater will be the stability of carbocation. Greater the number of resonating structures, greater will be the stability of carbocation. So फिर से resonance आ रहा है, फिर से resonance. Okay, so don't worry, resonance will come almost in every topic from here onwards. So in the earlier class, I gave you a brief introduction about resonance. I won't go into details, just yaad kar lena for a carbocation, how will you come to know whether resonance occurs or not? Okay, so remember resonance occurs, just remember resonance occurs when a positive charge, is a part of a conjugated system. Bas. This will sum up everything. For a carbocation, how will you come to know whether resonance occurs or not? Resonance occurs when the positive charge is a part of conjugated system. What is a conjugated system again? What is a conjugated system? What had we discussed in the last class, earlier class? Conjugated system means a system containing alternate single and double bond. Okay, now see, just pay attention for 2 minutes. Just for 2 minutes. See, CH2, double bond, CH, single bond, CH2, Cl. Okay, this is an sp2 hybridized carbon atom. This is an sp2. This is an sp3. What is this type of carbon known as? sp3 attached to an sp2 hybridized carbon atom. Yes, what is this carbon atom known as? What are these type of carbon atom known as? Pratik, yes, what are this type of carbon atom known as? sp3 attached to sp2? Allylic. Very good, excellent. Allylic carbon. Eh? Now, okay, answer this. Come on. If it undergoes SN1 reaction, what should happen? What should be the first step? क्या generate होगा? Carbocation. This will leave away. So which carbocation is generated? An allylic carbocation is generated. So it's a 1 degree, right? A 1 degree carbocation is generated. So it should be less stable because 1 degree है. But here we see that this positive charge is a part of a conjugated system. After positive charge, what do we have? Single bond, double bond. So yes, resonance will occur out here. And remember, this is an electron deficient carbon. So these pi electron will move towards the electron deficient carbon atom. This will be the movement of electrons. So we have CH2 double bond, single bond out here, CH double bond, CH2. So it is getting stabilized by resonance. So it is becoming resonance stabilized. So these two structures are known as resonating structures. So allyl chloride, its name will be allyl chloride. Allyl chloride. Although it is a 1 degree halide, question. Although it is a 1 degree halide, it reacts readily by SN1 mechanism. Explain. So if it reacts by SN1 mechanism, then a carbocation should be formed. Here we see the positive charge is a part of conjugated system. Resonance will occur. So we say that since the allyl carbocation is resonance stabilized, since the allyl carbocation is resonance stabilized, so we write in the same language, we write in this way. Okay, the allyl carbocation is resonance stabilized. So hence allyl chloride readily reacts by SN1 mechanism. Bas. So very important है allyl chloride, याद कर लेना. Allyl chloride. So 1 degree है, you'll tend to think that since it is a 1 degree, it will be the least reactive. No. Okay, here we have to consider the stability of carbocation, which is getting stabilized by resonance. And if it gets stabilized by resonance, okay, resonance is more prominent than inductive. Right? If something is getting stabilized by resonance, that is very stable. That is very stable. So last one before I end up, say this. CH2Cl. What type of halide is this? An sp3 hybridized carbon atom attached to a benzene ring. What type of carbon atom is this? This is a benzylic carbon atom. This is a benzylic carbon atom. So this is known as a benzyl chloride. This is known as a benzyl chloride. Again, it's a 1 degree. This is attached to 1 degree carbon. So we tend to think that it does not undergo SN1. So let us see. If it undergoes SN1, what will happen? Again, same thing. We get this benzyl carbocation. Now again, the positive charge is a part of conjugated system here. So here resonance will occur again. Here resonance will occur. How does resonance occur? Don't worry about how to write down the resonating structure. We don't need. I'm just explaining it. So we are done out here. So the positive charge is a part of conjugated system. So now we know it will be stabilized by resonance. We don't need to provide the resonating structures. Okay, but I'll show you nonetheless. So this will go out here. This will shift out here towards the lone pair. The pi electron move towards the positive charge. Positive charge will shift out here. Again, these pi electrons will shift out here. Like this, etc. Okay, again, this will go out here. So how many residing structures do we get out here? How many? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So second point, greater the number of residing structures, greater will be the stability. So this will be even more reactive than this allyl chloride, because here we have just 2 residing structure, but here we have 4 residing structures. So this benzyl carbocation is really stable. So 2 expected questions from resonance. Although allyl chloride is a 1 degree halide, it readily undergoes SN1 mechanism. Allyl carbocation stabilized by resonance. Second question, although benzyl chloride is an example of 1 degree halide, it readily undergoes S1 reaction. Reason, yeah, benzyl carbocation is resonance stabilized. The benzyl carbocation is stabilized by resonance. So benzyl chloride readily reacts by SN1 mechanism. So to sum up, we can say all those halides which gives a stable carbocation. Okay, if it is an alkyl halide, 3 degree will be the most reactive, and exceptions are allyl chloride and benzyl chloride. They are 1 degree but very reactive. Why? Because the carbocation formed a resonance stabilized. Fine. So these are more or less concludes our discussion on SN1 reaction. So in the next class, I'll discuss about your SN2 reaction. Okay, I'll discuss about your SN2 reaction. Okay, fine. So can I leave now?